Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at NECA's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Trag and Granitor 2-pack. And these guys are basically just one figure with different paint and a few different add-on pieces. It's going to be kind of a quick review because of that, but they are very unique, let's say, compared to most of the other releases so far. So there's going to be a little bit to talk about still, so don't worry. I've got plenty of info for you, so stick around for that. But they're kind of good. They're really good in a few ways and not so good in a couple others, so there's definitely some stuff to talk about. So let's go ahead and get them off the stand and take a closer look. Now, these guys do share almost all of the same parts, but they're not exactly the same, especially from the neck up, so they are slightly different in height. So let's go ahead and do some height measurements for both of them. This guy comes in at about 6 3/4 inches, which makes him pretty close to 17.5 centimeters, right around there. This guy is closer to 18 centimeters, a little more. And that's going to make him just about 7 1/4 inches, so he's a little bit taller for sure, but mostly the exact same body. Now we're going to go ahead and do the aesthetic, but before we do that, we have to do a question of the day. Easy question, I think, for those of you who are watching this. You must be fans of the Ninja Turtles, so the question is, which version of the Ninja Turtles is your favorite? You can pick any single one of them, all the way back to the very original ones, all the way up to the Michael Bay movies, which are clearly going to be the most popular. My favorite version, I'd say, I don't know what it's called, I think it's the 2000 version. It's where they kind of have the more heroic look to them. That's my favorite version, I think, not counting live action. If I was going to group in live action, I'd pick that. Okay, so as far as the aesthetics on these guys go, all in all, they're really well executed. They look just like they're supposed to as far as accuracy to the source material. The line work is very nice. The color panels are very clean. No real issues there. I'm not absolutely in love with the amount of plastic we see for the inner hip. I know why they did that, and I'm okay with it, but I'm not in love with it. This one's a lot harder to notice because the grays match, but the browns just don't quite match on this guy, so it's not as great, but it's okay. You can see even the little details are done really clean. His lightning bolt there, and this guy's little metal. It's all fine. The paints are really good on these guys. No issues at all there. I guess if I had to pick something, I'd say that they, for the shading on the helmet, they lined it all in black, which is not normal. Like, you do get black line work, but as you can see around on the arms and whatnot, the different shading isn't usually completely outlined. They're color panels with black lines in certain places. For both of them, their helmets are lined all the way, so it looks a little bit strange. It doesn't quite look like the shading it's supposed to look like. Don't know why that happened. They've been doing this shading for a while, this kind of cell style shading. And so that's a little bit strange, but that's about it. Otherwise, they look really good. Sculpts are clean, no problems there. I'm gonna go 8 out of 10. They look very nice. The aesthetics are good. As far as accessories go, not a whole bunch. We have 2 different pistols. We have 2 pistols, one for each of them. We have a can of gray, because that's all it is. It's just solid gray. And then we also get a communicator with Krang on it. And then we get these cool wanted posters, which are transparent and really, really nicely done. Those are very cool. I like those. That's it for accessories, not a bunch. I'm gonna go only 6 out of 10. It's probably enough. I mean, I don't know what else you would need for these guys, but it's not that much. Especially considering that this 2-pack, even though it's a new mold, it's 2 of the exact same figure, mostly. So I'm feeling a little bit like the budget is a little bit in question here. Now, I'm sure that it cost them a ton to make these figures, so I get it. But also, I have to look at it from a consumer standpoint, in that we're buying basically a Marvel Legends pack here, and that it's 2 of the exact same figure. But I still get it. You can decide if that bothers you or not. It makes sense, but it's still an issue to discuss. Alright, now as far as articulation goes, these guys do have most of the same stuff. The only real difference is in the neck and the shoulders, so we'll do that really quickly, and then I'll do the rest on just one of them. Alright, for this guy, his head is on a ball peg on top of his neck, and I do believe his neck is also on a ball peg, but I just can't get it to move anywhere. But regardless, you can still move the head around pretty effectively. It looks up, it can't really go down, there's nowhere for it to go, but it does look side to side and lean, so that's fine, no problems there. For the shoulder, you can get the arms up. This one a little bit farther, but pretty good. I mean, you can get decent range out of that. As far as rotation goes, you can do it. Just be aware of where the things are sticking out. You have protrusions and you don't want to grind those against each other, but that will work. And there's no bicep swivel up here. You only get it down here in the elbow. There's a swivel on either end and you have 2 hinges. And it's mostly the same on that guy, but it's a different sculpt, so I'll still go over that one separate for the arms. But the double hinge actually works on this guy, and because he's all craggy and everything, it doesn't really detract. You only get 90 degrees though, so that's kind of a bummer, but it's okay. I'm not in love with how narrow it gets and how cavity, that's not how much of a cavity there is, but it could be a lot worse. So I think that'll be okay. You know, these guys aren't going to be running around doing martial arts poses, I don't think, so that's okay. Now for this one, we do have a little bit of a different sitch. This guy has a very skinny neck, and it does move around. Not as much as you might think, but it does. And the same thing, the head is on a ball peg. Again, not as much range as you might think, but it's definitely good enough. It's fine. Like, I can't make him really look down other than that. So be careful. I feel like that's the same PVC as everything else, it seems, so it shouldn't break too easily, but it probably is more fragile just because of the size and being PVC. But I'm not having any trouble with mine, so that's good. Now for the shoulders, obviously raising the arms up is going to be an issue because of these shoulder pad things that he has, so be aware of that. You do get your full rotation, of course, so that's easy. There's no movement on this side of the joint up here. Again, we just have the double jointed elbow with the swivels. Different sculpts here, so let's see how they function with the joint. About the same. About the same. It's a little bit better looking on this guy because his arms are less janky, but still just about 90 degrees, and you do get the swivel at both ends. And then as for the wrists, you have a swivel and a hinge, though that hinge isn't going to do much because of this, and it's mostly true for this guy too. He's not going to get a ton of range, though his rocks are in different places. Obviously, you'll have some limitation there. Now, as far as the torso goes, we have a big ball peg that's very stiff. This one's even stiffer than the other one, so I'm wondering how much variance there's going to be for everyone else. I can't get it to do much other than lean forward a little bit. It does go side to side, but that is very, very loose. Let's see about this one. And this one, also very loose side to side. You can rotate it on there. It does lean well, but it is very loose side to side. It's a decent joint. It's not great. You have a waist twist. That's pretty much standard. For the hips, it's the ball style hips, the new ones. That's why they have that big showing chunk of plastic in there. That's the hard plastic to hold the ball socket. Not loose, but definitely could be tighter. They are just borderline tight enough. Probably not quite. If you put them in any kind of crazy pose, I suspect you'll see a little bit of that action going on. You can bring them forward far enough, and the legs are the same on both guys, so you don't need to worry about that. They get enough range. It's just a matter of how tight the joints are going to be, and you get that thigh swivel, which will work just fine. Single jointed knee with a swivel at the top. The joint does give you almost 90, which will be good enough, and the knees don't look bad. They did a good job with that. Not too tight, but it is tight. And then for the ankles, they go back about that far, and they don't go forward very far at all. It is very limiting. And then for the ankle, you get a decent enough ankle rocker out of that swivel hinge. So all in all, they're not bad. They are as limited as I suspected they might be. Could they be better? Probably a little bit. Do they need to be? Probably not. I think they're going to be fine, and I think most people who are collecting these guys are going to do some kind of basic posing with them, and that's going to be about it. So I think NECA probably estimated what they should do in an accurate way, but you can decide how you feel about that. I'll give you the articulation rating of 6. It's not good, but it's probably fine subjectively. I'm guessing most people are going to be okay with that. All right, now as far as the final verdict for this 2-pack, I am torn. I always hate buying a 2-pack of figures when they are just skittles of each other. It does make sense for these guys though, and there is enough uniqueness going on that I don't feel like it's a problem. For me personally, I doubt most people will. I mean, the characters look like this. That's what they have to look like, so I'm okay with it. It does bug me that it's still a full price thing, but I also understand that they're not going to reuse these molds again, most likely. So they have to charge what they have to charge. I think that's reasonable enough for this. So my final verdict is 8 out of 10. They look good, they pose well enough for what they are, and I think most people are going to be satisfied with the purchase. So there it is, guys. Let me know what you think in the comment section below, and if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed, check out my other videos and see if you might want to, because I have new videos almost every single day, and thousands and thousands and thousands, lots of videos. It's the world's largest library of action figure reviews. I have no idea if that's true, but it could be. So you can come back for all of that, and in the meantime, keep collecting.